What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Whoa Baby. I've got a different co-host today.
It's me. I'm Ian. I'm Lezl's husband, Brittany's brother.
Brittany's in Dallas right now visiting Kellen. I think he's off for the weekend, so she's there. And we didn't have any recorded. And we didn't want to go a week without uploading because we promised that we would upload every Monday. Yep. So I was like, ding dong, ding dong.
Ding dong. Ding dong, who's there?
Ding, let's have my husband on the show. Usually he's behind the camera, running everything, producing, mixing, editing. He does everything. But I figured, well, we already have a channel. Like, let's feature you on our channel.
Yeah.
Well, my other channel. But
Lezl has 2 YouTube channels.
2 channels.
She's a busy woman.
If you would like to see more of Ian and obviously Zachariah, but more of Ian, go subscribe here or somewhere.
Somewhere I'm going to try to link it somewhere, or it'll be in the description, our channel. It's called The Gonzalez Gang.
Gang. Go subscribe. Anyway,
Yep.
I thought it would be fun to hear your perspective of like pregnancy, what our pregnancy was like for you from your point of view, because I know what it was like from my point of view.
Right.
And we already did a birth story on our channel. Maybe you could link that here somewhere.
Sure.
I don't know.
All
like,
our
link
videos.
So it's not so much my birth story. We might also do that later in a different episode with Brittany. We'll see. I don't know.
Yeah.
But from a guy's perspective, obviously you weren't the one pregnant. You weren't the one carrying the child. So I just want to know, what was it like for you?
Sure.
But we got to keep the same format.
Peaks and valleys?
Peaks and valleys.
All right, I get to do a peaks and valleys.
So we always start with valleys. What was your valley?
Okay. I think my valley was that I hurt my back. I hurt my lower back earlier this week.
How?
I was lifting weights, as I do, and I just bent over. I just picked up some heavy dumbbells, and I just was a little bit loose with it. Pulled something in my lower back. I've been having issues with it. It was feeling better, and then I just hurt it again. So it's screaming at me right now. It's like, and that was like a week ago. So that was my valley.
Anyone that says age is just a number is lying. Hasn't aged.
Yeah, I mean, like, when you age, I mean, we're in our early 30s, but you start noticing things just, like, falling apart.
Yeah.
Or just, like...
You don't just wake up and, like, are ready to go.
Ever. It always takes a little time to get going. But anyways, it's kind of a selfish valley because it's all about me, not really about parenting. My peak is about parenting, but my valley was about my back.
I mean, I had a valley a few weeks ago, and it was about me not cleaning the house, so
that
has nothing to... Well, I don't want to say it has nothing to do with Zachariah, but...
It was a valley for all of us. Just kidding.
Anyway, my valley is also going to be a peak.
Okay.
It's going to be like an all-in-one. So, Zachariah does not like the bath. I would venture to say,
he hates the bath.
He hates the bath. He used to tolerate it. He hated it when he was a newborn, and then he just kind of tolerated it.
Yeah.
And now, I would say within the last couple of weeks, he, like, actively hates the bath.
Yeah.
So, we were at the park today. Earlier, I called it a lake. It's not a lake.
It wasn't a lake.
It wasn't a lake.
It was just a
park.
park.
I almost said pond. It's not a pond.
It was a puddle at the park.
At the
puddle
park.
Of water at the park. That's
It had
all.
rained a few times this week, so there was a puddle, not a pond, not a lake.
Yeah.
Like around the field. He's not really interested in playing at the park right now. He would rather walk around. He's an explorer.
And he's observant, so
Very
he just kind of wants to see how sprinklers work instead of going down the slide.
Yeah.
So he's a smart boy.
Currently. So we were walking around, and then we're kind of at the benches by the field, and there's I keep wanting to say pond. There's a puddle of water, a pretty big size puddle.
It was bigger than that, but
a pretty good size.
If you want real dimension, it was probably like 4 by 8 feet. If you want dimensions,
but he's kind of like walking around the puddle. And then he kind of like dips his toes in, and I'm like, oh, cute. Like, he's just trying to like, he wants to see the little ripples. And then he starts splashing. So I'm like, well, he's having fun. Like, I'm not going to stop him because he's having fun in water.
Yeah. Which
is rare. So I took out my phone to record him splashing so I could send to him.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like splashing, 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 splashing. And then he sits down. Insert here. No.
He
So cute.
It's so muddy. So soaked.
Muddy. I was not expecting him to do that at all, just because he doesn't sit down in the bath.
No. Or
ever.
Yeah.
He doesn't sit down.
And doesn't like water. He doesn't like go to the pool or the jacuzzi.
Yeah,
the beach, he'll like put his toes in, but he just like wants to run up and down the sand.
Yeah.
So it was
uncharacteristic for him.
Yeah.
Luckily, we live like right up the hill from the park, so Ian's like, "Do you want me to bring a change of clothes?" Because I wasn't prepared. I'm like, why would he ever voluntarily like get wet and get muddy? He doesn't like having dirt like you.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But he is a boy.
He is a boy. But you're also a boy, and you didn't like being dirty at all at his age.
Well, that's true. But I was a special case.
Anyway, that was a valley because I wasn't prepared, but it was a peak because he was having so much fun.
Yeah, he was.
In water.
Which
is a dream. I just want him to have fun, like, in the pool. I mean, summer's over now, so we're not going to the pool, but
yeah,
that's beside the point. What's your peak?
My peak? Hold on, this is bothering me. I just want to put this... Can you guys see this plant? If I put this plant here for some greenery, there we go. My peak was this morning. Zachariah was especially affectionate with me, with you too, huh?
Yeah.
Man, he was just, you were handling some house things, and he was just
Housework, you can say I was cleaning the house.
She was doing laundry and stuff. But he was just hanging all over me, sitting on me, just wanting to be on me. He was on my back while I was doing push-ups.
It was very cute.
It was cool. Yeah, it was very cute. He doesn't do that often anymore. He did for a long time.
At least with you, not with me.
He was always very cuddly with me.
Yeah.
Lately, he's coming into his own, and he doesn't want to cuddle very much or hang on me or hang out with anybody. But today he did, and it was that was a peak.
It was
big time peak.
I would say that was my peak too, because before we left for the park, I got like 10, 15 minutes of like.
All right, a double peak day.
Double peak.
This got a double peak. Cool.
Cool.
I get my first Peaks and Valleys segment. That was good. Very special.
Give it up for Ian.
Woohoo! Thanks, guys.
All right.
Without your support, I couldn't have done it. All right, let's get into this. What are we doing?
Let's get into this. Okay, so let's start at the beginning.
Yes.
We got pregnant.
I thought you meant the beginning of the Bible when God created the heavens and the earth. Sorry. As a dad joke, guys. Yes. Sorry about that. Go ahead. In the beginning, we got married.
Dad jokes.
Okay, we got married. Yes.
No, I said we got pregnant.
That's what I meant to say. Sorry. We got pregnant.
We got married before we got pregnant.
And then we got pregnant.
And then we got pregnant.
Yes, we did.
So I was planning for it to take like up to 3 months.
Yeah.
You know, actively trying. But also, I'm so competitive and I like want what I want right away.
Sure.
I'm not very patient in that sense.
Right.
So obviously, like, I think everyone that starts trying to get pregnant wants to be pregnant like ASAP.
Yeah.
But I planned, I figured we'll try for 3 to 4 months, and then because I wanted to deliver within a certain like months span.
Yeah.
I figured, if you don't get pregnant in this span of 3 to 4 months, then we'll take a break for like 3 months and then we'll try again.
Yeah.
We got pregnant that first month.
Which was great. First try.
First try. Well,
really. First, like we intended, like the first month, like we were intending to try, and we got pregnant. So
we did it more than one time that month.
One and done.
Like, I don't know what happened.
No, I just meant like the first, like we said, let's try, and it was like that month.
Yeah.
And then you got pregnant.
We got pregnant.
Yeah.
Were you surprised that it happened so quickly, or were you just kind of like matter of fact, like, yeah?
I was surprised, but not. I was surprised because we had friends, and I had just heard that it was so difficult to get pregnant. Mm-hmm. People were saying like we had to try for months, and some people were having to go through other methods of like fertility treatment and stuff. So I didn't think we were going to have those issues, but I just thought it might take a few months. I don't know.
Yeah.
So when it happened, I was like, whoa, we did it. All right. I gave Lezl a high five when I found out. I was like, yes.
I thought he was going to cry. And he's a very sensitive person. So I figured like, I'm going to tell him. I'm going to put the pregnancy test here. And with like this little onesie that says baby's first Christmas.
It was very cute set up what she did for me to see.
But I thought he was going to like, boo-hoo.
Usually I'm a crier. I do cry.
I know.
I'll cry when soldiers come home, movies, music, watching clips of Zachariah when he was a baby. Anyway, sorry.
No, it's okay. I just thought he was going to cry. He didn't cry, but he did.
Yeah.
He did give me a high five.
It was awesome. I wasn't very surprised. I knew we would get pregnant. I didn't think it would take I didn't think it would take long, I should say, but I didn't think it would be that quickly. So it was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But I was confident because when we went into it, we were like, financially, it's like never the right time, right? Yeah. We were waiting for like, oh, is it the right time? I'm doing air quotes if you're listening to the podcast. But we were just praying like, okay, Lord, we feel like now is the time to try, and we just ask for favor and let your will be done. If we're supposed to get pregnant, awesome, let it happen. If not, please block it until it's the right time. Yeah. And so when it happened, we were like, okay, cool.
That's a more mature prayer than I was praying. I was like, God, let this happen right now.
That's what I was praying. I just wanted to, because if it wasn't the right time, or if there was going to be something bad that happened, I wouldn't, I didn't want it. So
I didn't even leave room for that. I'm like, it's going to happen this first time. I'm like, God, I need this to happen. That's how I pray. I'm like, if I need something, I'm like, Lord, I need this to happen right now. Yeah. Otherwise, I don't give an ultimatum. I just say, otherwise, I don't know. What
great faith. So yeah. Lezl, she sent me off to the gym, right? Which she never did at that time because
I always wanted him home.
She wanted me home on the weekends. I was trying to go pump the iron, But she said, "Why don't you go to the gym, play some basketball, like lift?"
I did tell you to play basketball.
Yeah, because I hadn't played in a long time, and I was like, "Wow, great wife. Okay, it's like I have the best wife ever." So I went. And while I was gone, she went to the store. I guess you were picking up the onesie and some things to surprise me.
A couple more pregnancy tests because I knew you wouldn't believe the first one that I showed you. He still doesn't see it. I can still see it, but...
There was only one line. She's like, do you see the second line? And I couldn't see it. I still can't see it.
I promise it's there. Any woman that has ever stared at pregnancy tests in different light, you know when you can see it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I got 2 more pregnancy tests to make sure I was pregnant and it showed. So yeah.
Yeah, I came home and she had it all out there. I was like, oh my gosh, amazing. And then 9 months later, here he is. No.
We told our families at Christmas.
Yeah.
And it was great.
We surprised them.
We did surprise everyone.
It was cool. Very cool.
All right, moving on.
Yes.
So how was my first trimester for you? I know for a lot of women, they can be like super emotional, sick, all of the things.
Okay. I thought your first trimester was pretty awesome compared to what I had heard. I'd heard that some women go a little crazy, probably hormones.
Yeah.
Throwing up, just sick all the time, nauseous, gaining like 100 pounds, stuff like that.
I did gain a lot. I think I gained the most weight though in my first trimester.
Yeah, but it wasn't even that much weight. Should I insert that picture of you when you thought you were so big?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to insert this picture. Lezl thought she was so pregnant. You were 6 weeks?
I was 6 weeks, guys. I'm so sorry.
At the time, people were like eye rolling her. And she's
every bump date. And I'm like, now looking back, I'm like, you know what, you guys? I am so sorry.
But it was your journey, though.
I know.
Like, when your body's a certain size, so when it changes, you feel it, you see it. But just because you're smaller than other people, it doesn't matter. But anyways, it was kind of funny.
I felt like I looked so fat.
I know you did. I remember you were like bummed about it. And I was like, I'm looking at your stomach like this. What?
Here's a picture from us like taking pictures for Instagram to post. And I'm like, my thighs are huge. They're not.
Man. So anyways, but your first trimester, she wasn't sick. Well, you didn't tell me you were sick.
Mm-mm.
She didn't throw up one time.
No.
She just said as long as she ate when she started feeling hungry. So like if I'm kind of feeling hungry, she had to eat like right away.
Yeah. Otherwise I would get like a little nauseous.
A little nauseous. But... Otherwise, no sickness. It seemed like your energy was okay the first trimester.
Really?
You weren't like dead. Right?
Second trimester.
But second trimester, when usually women are coming up, like, okay, second trimester energy, you were like really tired. She would do like one thing and that would be it for the day. So whether that was like
one load of laundry.
Like one load of laundry and then you were done, or if you had to run to Target, like one Target run, even if it was for one thing. So, but I was pleasantly surprised that it was the way it was.
Me too.
Can I talk about your menstrual cycles on this channel?
Yeah.
Lezl's not really like a crabby.
I don't PMS. Like
she doesn't PMS,
really
so like it felt very similar to me. Like If she...
except for that one time, remember?
I can tell... Well, it was more than one time, but generally, she's not very, like, crabby and angry and, like, hormonal. If she feels it, she doesn't project it too much, but occasionally she is, and I can always tell. The cool thing is... Sorry, is this Lezl's menstrual cycle show? It relates, though. The cool thing is that when she is being a little bit, like...
Right?
And it's really irrational, she will admit it, because I'll be like, hey, are you? And you'll be like, yes, I am. Okay, I'm sorry, right? I just know. And I'm like, okay, I know you are. I just want to make sure. I love you. What can I do for you? But let's just both acknowledge that this is irrational. What is happening right now?
Yeah.
But she's always very cool about that. So pregnancy was very similar. No drama.
No. I think I cried the most because...
The sandwich?
Oh, yeah. I almost had a full-on meltdown in Vons because they didn't have the olive tapenade that I wanted. I really wanted this olive spread on my sandwich.
Yeah.
Sandwiches were one of the only things I craved. And so we went to get a sandwich and they didn't have what I wanted.
Yeah.
And I just didn't want anything else. And so I was so mad and so upset, and I'm just like, I'm about to throw a fit here in Vons because they don't have this spread.
She was devastated.
I was devastated.
I think I noticed that time that maybe it was a little bit more severe than I thought, like the hormones.
Yeah.
Because you were so, like, regular for the most part, and then you started crying over a sandwich, and I was like, whoa, okay. All right, I see it.
It was pretty bad.
I see this. But the first trimester, I would say nothing like what I had heard stories about. So
I think in the second trimester I had a breakdown because I felt like such a bad wife because I couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
I was just like, I can't cook, I can't clean.
She was just tired, and I totally get it.
Tired and unmotivated.
Yeah.
I just didn't have that typical second trimester like surge of energy. I didn't go into like a nesting phase. And
that's kind of the danger of, like, using those things that they say you should be experiencing and trying to apply them to your unique situation. Because if you don't feel those things, or if you don't progress the same way, then you start feeling you're hard on yourself.
Yeah.
And that's not cool. Everybody's different, you know? It doesn't mean you're a bad wife or a bad mom if you don't feel these certain things at the time when the books say you should,
It
right?
wasn't that. I just felt like I wasn't doing a good... Like, I just felt like I didn't feel like myself, and I just felt so lazy and unmotivated to do anything. Like, I was supposed to be blogging at the time and, like, blogging my pregnancy, and I just couldn't do anything other than just sit in front of the TV and veg and maybe do, like, the one thing. But pregnancy is hard. I feel like next time, well, I don't think I could do that with Zachariah, but
once you have a child, moms turn into some superheroes. Like, God put something in you that when you have a baby, like, you have another gear that you didn't have before. Mm-hmm. And I think he just does that innately. I don't know if I have that gear. I feel like I lost a gear. I'm exhausted. No. I think you'll be fine.
Okay.
I think you'll be fine. You'll have me, obviously.
That's true.
I'll be around, but...
That's true.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got first trimester, second trimester, third trimester. This
is when it all went down.
This is when it all went down. I had a pretty, I would say, like, a dream pregnancy.
It was
first,
no
second
drama.
trimester. Even, like, halfway through the third trimester, it was just kind of like, great.
Yeah.
I wasn't very big. You can see the pictures. I hid my pregnancy from my agents for almost 7 months.
Oh, yeah, she would go on jobs and just wear, like, overalls, and nobody knew she was pregnant.
They were my lucky overalls.
How small she was. But they were pretty tight. I bet people were thinking, like, did she gain a little bit of weight?
No one said anything.
I know. Well, because it's a sensitive subject. They thought you gained weight in the midsection.
But third trimester.
Yeah.
We went on a baby moon.
We did, yep. Arizona, some resort.
Yeah, what was it? Paradise Valley.
Something like that.
So, I got sick on our baby moon.
Yeah.
We both got sick. Food poisoning?
I think it was food poisoning. I mean, we both got very violent stomach issues on our last night. We were supposed to go on a date. Like, we had reservations at a restaurant that Lezl really wanted to go to. It was our last night there, and we missed it because in the afternoon, started feeling queasy, and then we were just battling that all night long, basically.
But before we go into that, the third trimester, well, starting at, what was it, 17 weeks? No, 18 weeks, I started to have Braxton Hicks contractions. And once I got into my third trimester, they were every few hours, I would say. And then it started to be like every couple of hours. But in my third trimester, anytime we would have sex, I would get these like really, really intense contractions because your uterus contracts. So we did it in Arizona on our last night or last day. And I started to have the most intense contractions that were 1 to 2 minutes long every 3 to 5 minutes. Did you think I was in labor?
Yes, because that went on for
hours.
Well, I mean, I'm laying in bed like about to throw up,
trying to figure out how
like cold sweats. I'm feeling like I got a fever and stuff. She's over. Do we have 2 beds in that room?
I don't remember. I don't think so. I think we had one king bed.
It was one king bed. See,
but I think
the
room
was
on,
spinning. You were on the other side.
The Chase Lounge.
Oh yeah. She was like curled up and she was just writhing in pain. And I'm thinking, am I gonna have to call an ambulance or where's the nearest hospital? Because also it's too soon. How far along were you?
30 weeks maybe.
We were like, oh crud, like we're in a different state. So it was pretty dramatic. It all came to a head when Lezl gets up and runs to the bathroom, projectile vomits all over the bathroom.
Blue licorice.
She didn't even make it to the toilet. No. She's just like, bah, all over. And anyway,
but the contraction stopped.
That was the one time, that was the one time she threw up in the whole pregnancy. And it was violent.
Were you, like, what was the likelihood that you thought at that time that we were going to go to the hospital? Like, have to call an ambulance, go to, like, an Arizona hospital?
I think maybe 50-50. I didn't think it was, I didn't know. Again, I wasn't fully there either.
It was bad.
I mean, I think if that happened this time, now that we have a child, I might just take you to the hospital.
Okay, yeah.
Knowing that they were so frequent for so many hours. We didn't know what we were doing.
I was just praying that we wouldn't have to be 6 hours away from family and my doctor and like, is insurance going to cover this? Like, what's going on?
Right.
Whew. Anyway, that was a trying time. Now.
But we have a good story.
We do have a good story. So 34 weeks and 6 days, we find out that I basically have IUGR, which is intrauterine growth restriction. Our ultrasounds had been great up until this point, and I can see that he should be measuring anywhere between like 33 to 36 weeks, or 34 to 36 weeks, and all of his measurements were 30, 31, 32 maybe, but like in some were even 29 weeks.
Yes, definitely.
And so we had to do some non-stress tests. We ended up having to go to the hospital that day to be monitored, which turned into a 3-day stay. Mm-hmm. As soon as they hooked me up to that first machine.
Yeah, in the office?
In the office, yeah. What were your thoughts?
I think I was a little bit concerned because he was measuring normal all the way up until then, and all of a sudden now he's weeks and weeks smaller behind. So kind of, there was a heartbeat, so obviously we knew he was alive in there. He was very active.
Very active. I never had to count kicks.
So he was still kicking and stuff, but it was kind of like, that's weird. I was kind of thought maybe we might have maybe there was some sort of genetic issue with him, to be honest. Maybe he would be like a little person or something. I just didn't know. I
looked that up.
Yeah, I just didn't know.
Yeah.
But again, we just I think we were both a little stressed about it, but we just pray and
I looked back on the video that you took, asking me how I was. And I think I almost cried because I can see it in my eyes. I'm trying to be positive and I'm trying to be happy.
But you're scared.
But I'm terrified that
something's wrong.
Something's wrong with my baby.
Yeah. So we did these. We set up these for the last handful of weeks. I think from 34 weeks to 37 weeks. He was measuring 30 weeks. And then when we finally delivered, he was measuring at 34 weeks. So he was the preemie size. But we were doing twice a week doctor's appointments. Every single time she had to get hooked up to this machine. We had a 3-day stint at the hospital. We went back to the hospital an additional 1 or 2 times.
Yeah.
So the whole pregnancy was like awesome. And then those last 3 or 4 weeks were just like
so stressful.
Really stressful, really kind of scary. But just trusting God that it was going to be okay, but not really knowing what was happening.
Yeah.
So, it was interesting. It was definitely interesting. Because I felt like if anybody's ever got these non-stress tests, I feel like they don't tell you anything about it. They're just like, well, your baby seems to be in distress during a contraction. It's like, okay, well, what does that mean? Well, we just want to monitor him. And it's like, so for 3 days straight, it's just like, oh yeah, his heart rate drops
like,
when you have a contraction, and then it goes back up.
Dip.
Yeah, oh, I don't like this dip. We'll leave you hooked up to it. But I don't know. It just felt weird. Like, is there going to be some sort of a resolution or what are we doing?
Yeah.
What does this mean? Is it dire? It's obviously not dire. Otherwise, you would just get him out now.
Like with RUGR, basically they don't know what's wrong until you deliver, and so the goal is just to keep the baby in as long as possible. But if it gets to a point where it's not looking good, not that they're going to.
Well,
die.
then if they're not growing at all anymore, they're not getting, because the placenta basically stops working, and so if the baby's not getting any nutrients,
then it's better to get them out.
Them out, then they can feed and grow. Even if they have to be in the NICU for a while, like at least they can get nutrients and grow outside of the womb. But if they're not growing inside. So I think, that was another thing. They're monitoring, and it's like, okay, like his head was still kind of growing, but the rest of his body was really small. And so they're like, well, that's a good thing because that means the brain is pulling nutrients up to the brain to develop the brain in the head, but the body's small. So, and we're like, oh man, a little bit nervous about that.
Yeah.
But that's when they were like, if he keeps going this way, we'll just get him out. His body can catch up.
Yeah.
So they were concerned, but not concerned enough to be like emergency situation.
I had to get steroid shots in my booty both days to help hopefully boost his lungs if they needed to induce me that.
Right. They wanted his lungs to be developed if he had to.
Did you think I was going to deliver that first time we went?
I kind of thought so, yeah. Because, I mean, they sent us to the hospital for an afternoon, we thought, which turned into 3 days. I thought it seemed pretty urgent. But I guess not urgent enough. But, so that was our 3rd trimester. And, 2
weeks later.
2 weeks later.
We were leaving a doctor's appointment, frustrated because I had been in labor for 5 days at this point.
Oh, yeah.
Remember?
Every night. Well, every day and every night. Like, our moms, both of our moms were like showered and dressed, sleeping on the couch every night because...
Sorry, moms.
Because she was like laboring, and I'd call the doctor, and she'd be like, okay, well, if this persists for this amount of time, then come in. But then it would always kind of taper off and come back and taper off. And so for days, every single day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday we thought was the day. And then it didn't end up being the day either. Thursday, and then finally Friday, we had a doctor's appointment.
Sent us home
after doing yet another NST. And
saying, I don't know what to tell you, but he looks comfortable in there. And I'm like, well, make him uncomfortable. Like, I'm uncomfortable. It's been 3 weeks of just stress.
Yeah. But it was also kind of nice that they weren't so concerned.
That's true.
They were able to say, like, hey, let's keep him in as long as possible.
Yeah.
And that, at least he was kind of growing. I don't know.
But then we got a call saying, you know what? I went through your charts with the specialist, and go ahead and go to the hospital.
You're going to have your baby today. And we're like, whoa.
Yeah, what was your thought? Because I got the call.
I was like, wow. I think I asked you to ask her if we can have lunch first because we were hungry.
we were on our way home anyway, but we were like...
We were almost home.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, we had been driving for 25, 30 minutes. We were almost home. So yeah, we were just like, whoa, it got real.
Real fast.
But it wasn't like her water broke and we had to rush to the hospital. It was kind of like the doctor said, yeah, go grab some lunch, gather your things, get what you need to do, and then come back to the hospital. So we went to the Habit, had some cheeseburgers, went back home. I know, but we went there and cleaned up, did some errands, and then we went to the hospital.
Like, what did it feel like for you? Because for me, I was so nervous and excited that I couldn't eat. You ate your burger.
I was
like,
hungry.
what was it like knowing that the next time we came home, you'd be holding your son?
I don't think I thought that far ahead. I was just kind of like in the moment, like, okay, what do we need to do? I need to make sure that the hospital bag is like prepped and ready. Yeah. I prepared it already, but I wanted to make sure we didn't forget anything, phone chargers.
Oh, yeah.
Anything like that. So I think I was just kind of going into that mode. I wasn't really thinking about anything else. I was like, okay, great, we're going to have this baby. What do we need to do before we get to the hospital? Because I don't want to have to come back.
That's true.
I don't want to leave you. So, yeah, and we didn't live too close. So, yeah, but I was obviously excited.
It was a
very
exciting time.
So we went to the hospital, check in. It was about 2:30, 3 o'clock p.m.
I was already 4.5 centimeters dilated when they checked me in.
Oh, yeah, so we're calling family like, it's happening today.
Yeah.
It's going down.
Everyone thought it was going to happen.
Get to the hospital. We're getting induced. Right now, Lezl's already 4 centimeters, almost 5 centimeters.
This baby will be out in 4 to 5 hours.
Probably by 10 p.m., midnight at the latest, we're going to have a baby.
Yeah, that was not the case.
No, it didn't happen that way.
So obviously, I was contracting. I was exhausted. I know, like, you will never be as exhausted as I was, but what was labor like for you? Like, what was it like seeing me in labor before I got the epidural?
Oh, I mean, you were in so much pain, and it was just, I told Lezl, like, anything you need of me, let me know. If you need people to leave the room, I'll kick everybody out.
Which we did.
Which I did. Whatever you need, I'm here. So just, I was just nervous. I've never been through that before, and I don't like seeing people in pain, too. So, like, when you're in pain, it affects me. So it was difficult. Yeah, it was difficult.
I'm sorry.
Oh, don't be.
It's okay. We got the epidural. Well, I got a walking epidural, which now looking back was a mistake. Not that it was
it's like
a
mistake.
half.
It's like a half epidural, right? Yeah.
So I thought I wanted to feel every contraction because I wanted to know what my body was doing. I do not want to do that next time. You can still feel when the time comes to where you're 8, 9, even 10 centimeters. I never got to 10. But you can still feel the pressure. I was so exhausted that obviously I don't think I was as exhausted had I not gotten it, but I had already been in labor for 5 days. I don't think I need to know what that feels like again next time if I do get induced. But the nurses kept coming in and saying, "Are you sure you don't want the full?" And I'm like, "Yes, I don't want the full."
They're like, "We've been through this before with other patients."
But we did have a nurse that we had to kick out, so.
We did, yeah. We got there.
Were you kicked out?
I kicked this nurse out. Well, I didn't kick her out. I just told her she could never come back. She made Lezl cry. She was very condescending to us. Luckily, her shift ended at 7 p.m., so we checked in. By the time we got into a room, it was maybe 3 or 3:30.
Yeah. She
was there for a few hours, then she left. Lezl had a meltdown crying. This lady, she was just very condescending. We don't have to go into the details, but just one of those. And so when her replacement nurse came, I found her out in the hall, and I just said, I don't know what the scheduling is like. I don't know if that nurse is assigned to certain rooms, so she'll be back in the morning, but I don't ever want to see her again. Don't let her step foot in our room, please, respectfully. I'm not mad at you, but she made my wife cry. She was very condescending, and we don't ever want to see her again. So please tell whoever you need to tell, I don't want that nurse back in our room. And she didn't come back. So You can make those requests, ladies, if you're pregnant now or when you have a baby, your first one. You can, if you're uncomfortable with somebody, with a doctor or nurse or whatever, you can make those requests known.
Yeah. I would say, you probably would say the same thing. We watched The Business of Being Born like a couple of weeks before we ended up going to the hospital, and I feel like that really, for me at least, like let me know what you could and couldn't do. Like, you should be able to advocate for yourself. And if you're not a strong enough personality to do that, make sure your support person is. Or I mean, like, they're your support person, so send them to do. Like,
right.
He would do that anyway, but it was nice knowing that we were on the same page and he had my back and he could go and do that while I was, like, in bed.
Laboring and stuff.
Laboring.
Yeah. Yep. So, overnight, you labored, right? Mm-hmm. It was freezing cold in there.
So cold. Bring extra blankets.
Oh, man. By, like, 4 or 5 a.m., she was 9 centimeters. Mm-hmm. And they were like, here we go. We're going to push soon. And I was like, yeah. I was texting all the family. Some family had, like, gone home, had gone to sleep.
My sister
go
was
feed the
sleeping in the car.
dogs. Some people sleeping in the car. So I was texting everybody like, come back. It's go time. We're going to push. And that didn't happen. Everybody, by like 7 a.m., everybody's like, okay, we're here, anything? And she was still at 9. She stayed at 9. I think she got to 9.5.
Yeah.
She would not get to 10. And the nurses and the midwives were like, yeah, you know, it was like maybe 11 o'clock, 11:30, right, a.m.
Yeah. This is why I love him, because we were both just kind of like stone-faced. Like,
they're like, yeah, this was our interaction. They were like, well, you're still at 9.5, so...
And his heart rate keeps dropping,
Heart
blah,
rate
blah,
keeps
blah.
dropping, and they're looking, and they're saying this to us, and we're just like this.
Like, basically grooming us for a C-section.
And we just said like this.
Well, what did our doctor say? Oh, I'll go call her.
Yeah, call her, please. Because we didn't want a C-section. Lezl's like, I didn't labor all this time overnight to have a C-section, so...
Yeah. Obviously, if that was what my doctor said we needed to do, I would have done it. But I'm like, no, if I was going to have a C-section, it was going to be yesterday at 4 p.m.
Right. But doctor came in and said, you know what? Let's do a practice push. I know you're only 9.5. Let's do a practice push. So it's just the doctor.
Yeah.
Right there. Nurses are kind of in and out. So Lezl, a contraction comes, you push, boom.
Head's
Top
there.
of the head comes out. That's the sound it made. I'm just kidding. Top of the head comes out, and she's like, oh my gosh, okay, we're having a baby. Let's go, let's go.
Not enough nurses scrambling,
Get the
cleaning
nurses,
everything.
get the nurses, put my hairnet on, get the stuff on, the scrubs, and they're trying to prepare before the next contraction comes. Like, ah. So it was like, okay, now we're having a baby. Obviously, I didn't have time to text anybody.
No.
We didn't have time for our push playlist.
I didn't have time for my push playlist.
Or for, we were going to record, get some footage and stuff.
Brought the tripod.
We didn't do that either.
None of that.
So, yeah. But so I'm here. I got Lezl's leg because she's dead in the legs from the epidural. So her head's here. I'm holding this hand. This leg is over my shoulder. She's going to push the baby this way. Zachariah, hello, baby. And so we're like, okay, I love you so much. You got this. Let's go. And usually I'm not good with like bloody stuff. But this was different because this was my son being born. And I was like, and my wife needs my support. So I'm going to be there. I'm going to witness this. So she starts pushing. And now more of the head comes out. Some blood comes out. And I just start passing out. All of a sudden, I just can't hear anything. It's just like that high-pitched ring. My vision starts to go black. And I was like, oh my gosh, guys, I'm so sorry. I'm passing out. I'm passing out. I'm passing out. And the doctor's like, what? I'm passing out. I'm so sorry. Well, sit down on the couch. Sit down. There's a couch right behind me.
A whole commotion.
Whole commotion. So I sit down on the couch. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Lezl's trying to hold her own leg because...
It's dead weight.
Because there's no nurses. They were trying to find more nurses to come and assist
that
with
wasn't
this
supposed to push.
surprise birth.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting on the couch and she's like, lay down, put your feet up. And it's just, she's right here. She's the quarterback, right? Lezl's about to give her the baby, and she's like, sit down, lay down, put your feet up. Put your feet up. And I was like, no. And they were like, put your feet up. So, okay, I put my feet up. So
I'm like, do not pass out, hit your head, have a concussion, and have to go to the other side of the hospital.
So I'm laying down on the couch like this while Lezl's delivering, going through excruciating pain. And I'm just like, I can't miss the birth. I can't miss the birth. So I don't know how long I was laying there. It didn't feel like very long. But finally, like, my vision came back. I still couldn't hear anything.
You missed one contraction.
Okay. And I was like, I'm just going to get up and hold on to the bed because I can see now.
Yeah.
and just be there for it. And so I stood up and I was there. I was like, I'm okay. I was probably yelling because I couldn't hear.
Probably. There's a lot of yelling going on in that room.
But it was fine. It wasn't like angry yelling.
From start to finish, it was 3 contractions. So like 7, 8, maybe 9 minutes.
She pushed him out under 10 minutes.
Under 10.
So it was like, head, okay, I got you. I love you. Push, pass out. Okay, come back. Boom, baby comes out. Immediately, I'm back. We're crying. It was just the most incredible thing.
The most incredible.
He comes out and he's just like strength on full display. They put Zachariah on Lezl's chest, and he's already picking his head up and he's looking left and right and like screaming at the nurses, like, "What are you doing?" And they're like, "Oh my gosh, he's so strong."
This tiny little nugget.
Oh, I got to cut the umbilical cord,
Yeah.
so
How
it was very, very cool.
How surreal was that moment when he was out and on my chest?
It was surreal is the right word. It didn't feel like real life. It felt like a dream. Because like it was just a ball in your stomach.
Yeah.
Like your stomach was just a big round, like a medium-sized round ball And I knew there was a baby in there. We saw him kick, but to actually see him.
Yeah. Because you don't carry him, so you have a different kind of a
correct.
bond, if even a bond. I don't feel like I had that, like, I don't feel like I felt like a mother until he was born.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, some moms feel like they feel it from the moment. Like,
yeah. And you might feel that way with the second one because you have one now, so you'll know, right? You think? Yeah. But yeah, when he came out, it was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. I mean, even for the first few days, like, I should have held him more. He was just laying in the, I did hold him, but he was laying in the, his little incubator bed or whatever.
Yeah, whatever it's called.
And I was changing all the diapers and stuff, but I wasn't like affectionately like holding him and kissing him and as much because I felt so like he's mine, but am I allowed to like?
I felt the same.
Also, I hadn't slept for 3 days, so because I wouldn't allow myself to sleep even when you were sleeping, when you were laboring, because I had to be up. Then when he was born, I felt like I had to be up to help to change the diapers. I couldn't sleep. If you have a baby, well, some people don't care. Every noise, I was like, I want to make sure he's still breathing.
Yeah, I remember you snapped at me when I woke you up, not intentionally, but we were just so sleep deprived. And when we went to go get him his bath, I was like, hey,
a few days later, because they didn't bathe him right away.
No.
Not even the first 2 days.
I think it was like the day that we left.
Yeah.
Maybe. But
it was the early morning of the day we were getting discharged.
Yeah.
You're right, yeah.
But I couldn't walk on my own. I was in so much pain. I had a 2nd-degree tear, and I tore up the front too, so I was in a lot of pain. I don't think I got out of bed unless they made me pee. Like, I only got out of bed when they made me pee. And I just remember like waking him up and I'm saying, we gotta go.
And I think I had finally just fallen asleep and I had got a couple hours of sleep.
And you looked so bad.
I
know you weren't trying.
I think I was confused too. Yeah. I didn't know what was going on.
Because it was like 2 a.m. when they decided to bathe him.
Nurses just come in all hours of the night as if it's like, 11 a.m. Hey, how we doing in here? It's 2 a.m. How's everybody doing in here? Are we doing, oh great, okay. It's like, it's 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh man.
Anyway, it was amazing experience, and
you want to do it again?
I do. I really do.
Okay.
We're gonna have another one. It's gonna be special too.
Yeah. Well, that's it for this video, I guess.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, Brittany.
Welcome.
I know I can't fill your shoes, but thank you for letting me come on the Whoa Baby YouTube channel podcast and give a little bit of my perspective on your pregnancy and our baby's birth.
I think that was good.
Yeah, me too. I enjoyed this.
You're a very involved husband. I was going to say pregnant husband. You were very involved during my pregnancy and a very involved dad, and I love it. And I love you.
I love you too.
I will have more of your babies.
Okay, let's do it.
Not right now on camera.
No.
Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, share, tell your friends.
Yes.
And we'll see you in the next video with Brittany.
And I'll be behind the camera where I belong.
All right, bye.